Hi and welcome to my channel, the channel that's all about finding joy in every stitch and getting cozy in your hand knits. I am Lina and I'm coming to you from my home in Helsinki, Finland. It's time for another knit with me since April has just come and gone. Just like that, in a blink of an eye, it's May. Yeah, grab a whip, something to drink, and join me. I'm taking a break from work right now, so do join me for some knitting and chatting. I am still working on my Harriet Row call, and as you can see, I haven't really gotten that far. So I cast this on in the previous Knit With Me for March, which, to be fair, was filmed in the middle of April, so 2-3 weeks ago. Today, by the way, is May the 2nd, so I'm back on track now. And so I cast that on, or this on, in that, and then there was one weekend that I picked it up and then had to put it back down again almost immediately. So I'm still in the very beginning, but I'm enjoying it. And yeah, so this pattern is a pattern that I released about a year ago, last spring, and I'm just knitting up a new cowl for myself with that pattern. Yeah, so April. April equal to a lot of work and spring. Usually April is sort of for me as a month. Not really enjoying it normally, but this time, yeah, it was warm, unseasonably warm, which, yeah, it's maybe not such a good thing, but yeah, it was warm. Spring is truly here, and I've been spending a lot of time outdoors, tending to my tiny garden, running. It's even been warm enough to eat some of our meals outside, and for me to spend a bit of time working there if I just need to read something or type something, write something that doesn't require a whole bunch of papers next to me, or a lot of windows open on the screen. So I've been doing some of that outside as well. It does mean it's allergy season, so if I sound a bit stuffed up, it's because of that. It's because I am, but it's because of the pollen in the air, which there's plenty of. And in April, my son turned 10, which is just... I find it hard to remember what my life was like before him. I mean, not really, I do remember stuff, but it just feels like he's such a part of my life that it feels strange to think that he hasn't always been there. And then on the other hand, it feels like he was just born yesterday. I still remember the first time I looked into his eyes at the hospital, and yeah. So he turned 10, and it was a weekend of celebration. For the first time ever, I hosted a birthday party for his friends somewhere else besides our home. So we went. I thought I thought it would be fun to do something special for his first 2-digit birthday. So we booked a party, or a sort of a birthday package from the Science Museum that's pretty close to where we live, and him and 5 of his friends were just having a complete blast looking through the exhibits and then enjoying some cake and other treats in the restaurant. So I think that was a pretty successful thing to do. And then the following day, my parents and my brother visited at our house, and so we baked the cake for that. But other than that, I didn't. Another reason for having the birthday outside of our house was to have less things to do, sort of make it easy on myself. So I wasn't going to go crazy baking for my family then. So it was just a cake, but it was a really good cake. But in April, my personal making, the things I do outside of my work, like this cow, and the other project that I've talked about in the podcast, they haven't seen a lot of progress. And I haven't stitched, and I haven't sewn anything. I don't even remember when was the last time I sewed something or had time to cross stitch. So I'm really hoping May will be a bit more relaxed. In April, I did a whole lot of swatching and planning for future designs, and I just feel like my head is spinning with all the ideas. Most of the ideas that I swatched for were things that I had already sort of thought about and added to my calendar, but others were just something new that my mind came up with, something new that I just thought of. So I did a lot of swatching and a lot of planning, and now I just need to keep my needles busy. But every now and then I do like to visit my patterns again and just knit my patterns again. Yeah. And I still very much love and think it's important to knit from other designers' patterns. So my needles are gonna keep on being busy, but I feel kind of good that the next, well, like the rest of the year is pretty much planned out. So I always do this. I do these plans. It's for whatever. It's for my patterns, for my other making. I make these plans and then I find it difficult. At first I feel relieved that I've made them and that I know what I'm doing, and I just do it, and I love planning. But then as the months go by, I get new ideas, fall in love with new things to do, so they change. And I've talked about this before on the podcast, I think. It's just, I need to learn to be okay with changing my plans. Being a plan-oriented person means, for me at least, means that I would like to see the plans come to life, happen, come through. But then as a sort of an artistic person, I guess all of us makers are artistic in a way, otherwise we wouldn't be making. The artistic side in me just the plans develop, and they change, and I fall in love with something. I get a yarn and I want to use that, or I get this idea for the perfect pattern, and so they evolve and I need to evolve with them. Do you do that? Like, do you plan, and for how long of a period do your plans go, and how often do they change? It's again the psychology of making, and that I find so interesting. Sort of, we're doing the same thing. We're knitting, and most of us are knitting for ourselves. And then the ways we approach it can be completely different. And today is the 2nd of May, like I said. And usually sort of the spring holiday, well, it's not, why am I making in quotation marks? It is the spring holiday here for May Day. The 1st of May is always a day off. It's a day off from school and for most people from work. Of course, stores and like that can be open. So it was just yesterday, and usually the weather is horrible. It's like what it's today, about 10 degrees and raining. That's a typical weather for May Day. But this year it was, I think it was plus 17 degrees here, and the sun was shining. It was nice. My son was here with me, and May Day's Eve, we baked donuts, or we call them munki. So they're sort of, I think it's the same kind of a batter that you do donuts with, but we just make them into buns and then fry them. So we made a small batch of those donuts. We ate some of them already, and we watched the first Harry Potter movie. It was the first time my son had seen a Harry Potter movie, and he's a huge fan. He's read the 3 first books. I'm sure he would have read more, but I sort of want him to grow a bit before advancing onto the later books. So he watched the first movie for the first time, and it was so much fun to watch him watch that. And then on yesterday, on the 1st of May, we went to a local street fair. We enjoyed cycling there in the sunshine, and then ate some street food and bought some treats for home. We have usually the street fairs here in Finland, they sell these, any kind of fairs usually, they sell these meter-long pieces of licorice that come in all different flavors. I can't eat them because they contain wheat, and I need to eat gluten-free. But my son got a few of those, and I got the first fresh strawberries of the season. They're not finished strawberries. They don't grow here. Yeah, the plants barely, I don't think the plants are even flowering, but so they were imported, but still I very much enjoyed them. I don't buy fresh strawberries during the winter, just because I know they need to be brought in from really far away. So only in the early spring days, when I know that they actually grow somewhere in Europe, and I just can't wait any longer. So I got my first batch of fresh strawberries. That was a really nice little holiday day there. I did work a bit yesterday as well, but for most part I spent it enjoying the time with my son and enjoying the weather and being outdoors, which sort of seems to be the theme for this year. I think it's time for me to get back to work now. So thank you so much for sitting down and spending a bit of time with me. I hope you made some progress on your whip if you were knitting on something. And I will see you soon again. Thanks so much. Bye.